So this lesson we're going to talk about the return. As the serve has become more of a weapon and more important in singles, now what follows is the return is becoming more important. Additionally, as paddle technology has gotten better and people are able to hit the ball a lot more like a tennis racket and a tennis ball, the return has become even more important with tennis players coming over and being able to hit the third shot really well and pass you. So in this video, we're going to talk about what makes a great return and how you can neutralize those third shots so you're not getting passed right away. And if you want to evolve your game, make sure to like and subscribe to everything Selkirk TV so you can stay up to date with all the lesson courses and podcasts. So like the serve, the return has a couple different things you can think about when you're hitting it. However, like the serve, depth is going to be your number one most important thing. And above all, depth is going to be what determines how good your return is. If your opponent is going to serve and you hit a short return and they can immediately take more time away from you and get up into the court, they're going to win the net from you and they're going to have such an easier shot to pass you. So depth on the return is the number one thing we're doing. If you can't choose a spot to return it, anything deep is always going to be good. Next, if you're playing someone that is good at passing shots, the more angle that you give them, the more angle they can give back at you. So the next thing on a good return, if someone is really showing you that they can hit good thirds, is going to be to play to the middle, because that's going to decrease the amount of angles on the court. And finally, if you're playing an opponent that has an obviously weaker side or a side that they're just less comfortable hitting out of, then returning to that spot is going to be the third most important thing for a great return. So first, I'm going to focus on hitting deep returns and varying my spot so that I can make sure that I'm comfortable hitting to every spot on the court. And if you notice, I favor my backhand. So I'm one of those people where serving my forehand return, I have a weaker forehand return. So if you notice that on an opponent where they're choosing to run around or hit one side, serving to the other side is going to be great for that. Now I'll do some middle returns. And another thing, when you're drilling returns, if you're one of those people that takes the return always and runs to the net, when you're drilling it, take the return and make sure your weight's going forward as if you're coming to the net. Otherwise, it's not realistic. If you're someone that returns and stays back, then when you're drilling your return and stay back. The last thing to consider on your return is whether or not you're going to return and come in. If you look at the men's pro singles game, you're going to see almost, let's say 95% of people returning and coming in almost every single time. If you look at the women's singles game, there's a lot of returning and staying back. So evaluating if you're going to be someone that returns and comes in is going to have to do with a couple different factors. Number one, it's going to be how fast are you? How well do you move? Are you comfortable getting into the net with a couple big steps, or do you need to take a bunch of little steps? The other thing is evaluating how good is the serve. If the serve is short, then it's very easy to take that return and follow it in. If the serve is very deep and pushes you back, all of a sudden now you have a further distance to cover, so maybe you're not going to return and come in. So figuring out if you're going to return and come in or stay back, neither way is right or wrong. Both are different playing styles and both works, as you can see in the men's and the women's game and in between. Just getting practice reps and figuring out what works best for you and your movement and what's comfortable with you is going to be key.